coming off a modern age, if you like, new age, if you like. I hate war. I hate war. I hate the very thought of it. Ever since I'm over 70, and ever since I've been born, there's been wars going on and people being killed, and that for not really quite sure the communists against the capitalists or whatever, Russians and Germans and English versus German, Americans versus everyone, and Americans are all against everyone. It doesn't matter who they are. There seems to be a war against perpetual war involving Americans and everyone else, and I don't get it. I don't get why they love the war. And the thing about all this war is there aren't any heroes. There are guys in the field who are heroes. No doubt there are soldiers who are extremely brave, far braver than me, and highly well trained, and take my hat off to them. But what have they been fighting for? They're fighting against what exactly? Or fighting for what? What have they been fighting for? All this time they've been fighting for the last 70 years or 80 years, whatever, for free against isms or ideologies. And now the thing it's all about ideologies coming into play again. Now, I don't understand the idea of ideologies. People have an ideology and they want it to work for them because they think that's a better way forward, or it suits their agenda, or it suits their corporate structure to actually have an agenda to profit, get a greater profit for itself, whether it's real estate, assets, or whatever, it doesn't matter. But the thing about war and now, the people who are more inclined to be pushing for it are furthest away from the battlefield. They're hiding in a bunker. They are all the world's leaders now can go and sit in a bunker, press buttons, blow everyone up, and there must be a couple hundred left. And they get out all the world's a smoky ruin and say, "Oh, we beat the capitalists at last. We beat the socialists at last. We beat the Russians at last. Oh, we beat the Americans at last." And so these few people will climb out of their bunkers, go up the top, and the ground will be ashes, and say, "We defeated the capitalists, the socialists, the communists, the Chinese, the Russians, the Americans, the British, the French. No, everyone, we got to beat someone. The Arabs, the Muslims, the Jews, we got to beat someone. The Indians are going to beat the Pakistanis, Pakistanis are going to beat the Indians, and whatever." And it makes you wonder how far the human race has actually come. It's got technical evolution, which allows them to do arrange warfare at all sorts of different levels, from warfare using weather, warfare using psychology, warfare using economics, biological warfare, technological warfare, and digital warfare. You name it, they could got this whole panoply of warfare, which is sort of now in its pandemic stage, because anyone can rage it. Some very, very clever little person somewhere, certain island, his own, could probably rage war against the world if they could manipulate the system, were good enough to hack into everything. So, this warlike mentality that seems to be the epitome of evolution. No, the epitome of evolution. We're humankind. We're the epitome of evolution. Really? Really? You don't see cows warring against each other, do you? Or lions warring. Lions do eat other things, but, they occasionally see male lions having a bit of a fight over a lady. But that's normal. But don't go to mass war against each other. That I know of. Elephants don't usually go to war against each other. And yet we're the highest in the evolutionary chain are going to war against each other over what? Egos and real estate, money, power, whatever. But the thing is, I wouldn't mind if all these leaders, all the leaders, go and get in there, put them in a ring, and have a bit of guard here. Putin will probably win, but I'll take the risk of that, because you never know. In a sort of put Biden against Putin, maybe Biden will win. Maybe he's a real dirty little fighter, because you never know with people. You never know what the fight's in the dog until they get in there and have to do it. And Biden has to be a bit of a fighter. He's 78. He's become the president of America. He's got to be a bit of a fighter. So you have to ask yourself, all these people All these people, desktop heroes, all these leaders now position themselves to scare the Billy Jesus out of the world because we might go to a war over what? Old enemies are all have to be old enemies perpetually because we can't make friends. Well, how childish is it all? When it all gets down to it, it lacks sort of a maturity, really, doesn't it? When we all can't sit down and say, well, tomorrow's a new day. Let's get over it. Tomorrow's a new day. Let's stop all this nonsense. Biological warfare, digital warfare, technological warfare, weather warfare, whatever warfare threatens of nuclear annihilation. You can all, tomorrow, all get up in the morning and say, I've had enough of that. Let's have a chat. Let's have a, listen, Vladimir, look, listen, let's have a chat. I'll get around the table and say, look, forget all this, like, nonsense about war. How can we work it all out so it's peaceful? Isn't that what the United Nations were for? Now the United Nations has turned into some sort of dictatorship over whatever. It's also turned into, it's probably a democratic arrangement between the people who vote on ideas, and now it's turned into a sort of, almost a dictatorship itself over certain things. So this is not evolution, it's devolution. And it's a psychologically madness. The thing about it is, it's not like a king or Caesar or great Roman centurions or great leaders in what were Rome had wonderful examples of guys who went out there and did it in battles and really proved themselves. So did the kings of England, other kings who went out there and proved themselves in battles. Vikings proved themselves in battles. So did the Goths and Huns. These people went out there and led and charged in and did it. They didn't sit at the back and say, go on, die all you buggers, and I'll sit here and I'll drink whiskey and eat caviar and get someone to give me a massage while we have this war. Because that's what it boils down to. It's like madness. Peter Sellers, what was the movie he made? Dr. Strangelove? Well, there's only people running the world now a sort of parodies of Dr. Strangelove. It seems to me we've got down to everyone being a bit like Peter Sellers, being in charge of the world, thinking, we'll be safe, blow the world to ashes, we'll go and hide in a bunker. Well, good luck to them when they come out, see how they get on, without all them slaves do all the work for themselves. We'll see how all these leaders get on when they've annihilated everyone in the world, and they come out of these bunkers in a few years' time when the dust has settled, and the nuclear winter's over, and they come out and say, well, hang on a minute, I think we've made a bit of a mistake here. We should have had a chat in the first place. It would have been easier, wouldn't it? My goodness gracious me. A war without heroes. And with only devastation for the people. That's not a war. That's nonsense.